Good evening, everybody, and welcome to the first of two live shows tonight on the Toon Review. We have obviously the Tottenham versus Newcastle United preview right now, and then at 8:15 we're back with you for the Newcastle United transfer show. Plenty to get through, of course, on both shows. So welcome, everybody. If you do enjoy it, hit the thumbs up button for us. And, of course, if you're new and you like what you see, please do hit the subscribe button. We are almost over 34,500 subscribers, which is incredible considering we just celebrated 34. So thank you very much, everybody. And, of course, hit that notification bell so you never miss an upload or a live show. And you can support the channel in the usual two ways. First of all, through membership, which is the join button just underneath us. And, of course, super chats are also available. That's the $ in the live chat. And that also guarantees your comment to be read out on the show. And a massive thank you again to sponsors Mamaru Records. If you're ever in or around at Whitley Bay Town Centre, pop in and see Steve for all your music merchandise, your vinyls, your CDs, your sporting merch, and, of course, gift cards, etc. They've got a hell of a lot on offer. If you can't get into the shop itself, check them out online. That link is pinned at the top of the description. So massive thank you once again to Steve and Mamaru Records. Keith Dites, who's been a member now for 34 months on the channel. What if you still don't like what you see, but have forgot to cancel your membership the past 34 months? Cheers, Keith. Good evening, gentlemen.
Good evening, and good evening to all the Magpie Massive out there in viewerland.
Good evening.
It's going to be a very interesting game, is it not, this Saturday lunchtime? Of course, Tottenham, who are in, well, I think they're in as much disarray as anybody at the moment. They've got massive injuries to the point where they are now playing youngsters who are in midfield. They're playing them in centre-back roles, and they're all over the shop right now. You never know what Tottenham you're going to get. But since beating Manchester United, Alex, in the Carabao, they've looked absolutely dreadful.
Yeah, they're a really, really strange side. Spurs are. They've scored the second most goals in the league. They play good football, a good brand of football, but then they concede like they're they concede like they're in free fall. It's a really weird amalgamation of everything, and a lot of the Spurs fans are concerned. A lot of the Spurs fans are happy. They're sort of.
No, Spurs fans are never happy, Alex. Spurs fans are never happy. They could be 20 points clear at the top of the league and still have something to moan about. I'm telling you, they're never happy.
I don't think they're as bad as Arsenal. Fanboys.
Well, there was I don't know if you guys saw that funny article today that everybody got hold of on Twitter. Well, it wasn't an article. It was just a tweet from some rando. But it's somebody apparently of some importance in the Spurs world about them getting Lewis Hall from us for 50-odd million.
Yeah, don't worry, Alex.
The dog is injured.
This fucks me off. We'll get Tug Wilson, by the way, is a new member of the channel. Thank you very much, Tug, and welcome to the Toon Review. Bear with me 1 second, Alex, because you just bring up a point that I want to make right now, and I just need to get these little screenshots down. While they're loading in, we do have Cruz Scott, who's also been a member with the Toon Review for 16 months now. Thank you very much, Cruz. I saw you were favourites away again versus the Big Six. Yeah, favourites going into a lot of games now. And Len Simmons with a super chat says, should we be concerned that Newcastle will only get 2 days off before we play Arsenal in the cup match?
Yeah, that's good. It's a good point.
We'll be fine. We'll be fine. And Niall says, well, he's been a member for 18 months on the channel as well. Thank you for your support, Niall. Maybe Newcastle should make a bid for Odegaard and shut them all up. Yeah, that would be quite funny. Yes, but getting back to what Alex was just discussing there. This is the tweet. With Destiny Udogie out for 6 to 10 weeks, Tottenham have to flex their muscles on the minnows. On the minnows. Lewis Hall is the perfect left back for Ange Postecoglou. Technically secure, comfortable inverter and width provider, masterful jeweler, two-way threat. For £50 million, Tottenham have their long-term left back whilst adding HG numbers. Go and screw yourself with a hot poker. Seriously, where do these people get the disrespect from?
Talk about delusions of high grandeur, but they're sitting somewhere in like 12th place at the minute.
We cheeky $500,000 for Heung-min Son or something.
Yeah.
Who do these people think they actually are? The disrespect shown to Newcastle United is unbelievable. And then this absolute twat, Paul Merson. If I were Arsenal, I'd break the bank for Isak. Paul Merson weighs in on whether Arsenal still need to sign a striker in the transfer window. Do these people not fucking understand when Isak comes out at least 3 times and says, I'm happy, I'm going nowhere, I don't want to leave? And where are Arsenal getting 150 freaking million quid from? Honest to God, it is becoming the disrespect for Newcastle United amongst the southern farts is unbelievable, guys. It really
We're only
is.
7 points off Arsenal. We've had a questionable season in terms of the middle bit or the early middle bit. To be 7 points off them, it's not that far away.
They just don't like us having nice things, do they? They just see us as kind of gate crashers to a party that we were never invited to.
They do,
we never
exactly.
liked to be invited to. Time to, just do what I do with them. Just ignore it.
Just assuming that these players will, or just assuming that just because they play for Newcastle, they want to get out of there as soon as possible. They want to move on to this wonderful place called London, which is a shithole. And, what gives them the right to just assume that these players will just jump ship? Fuck off. Susan Fagan is a new member as well. Thank you very much, Susan. I think that's a renewal, but thank you very much for your support. It absolutely astounds me every time I go through. And then that balloon Merson on Sky Sports, I break the bank. And then Piers Morgan agreeing with him. Of course, Piers Morgan would agree with him. Honestly, I mean, Colin says here, I love the fact that he thinks Spurs is a bigger club than Newcastle. Exactly. Honestly, it's mental. And listen, it'll continue throughout the window. Everybody will assume that Isak that they're going to go for Isak. It's not going to happen, Billy.
I wouldn't have thought so. I mean,
nobody can afford that. I'm telling you now, nobody can afford that.
If they were to buy Alexander Isak and they thought he could win them the league, then he'd be worth it. But I just don't see him. I just don't see them catching up Liverpool. So,
but Newcastle are not going to bend over for Arsenal and say, "Oh, by the way,
absolutely not."
Bid in for Isak and pay it off over 7 years or whatever it would take them.
No,
it's not going to happen.
It'll have to be up front in one go, £150 million, take it or leave it.
They can't do it.
I don't think I can do that now. I'll tend to agree with
you. Ray Fagan says other clubs would be over the moon if the likes of Isak was sold to especially the so-called elite clubs. Sorry about that. We've got a super chat from Nick Thornton. The Southern media are terrified of what we are about to become. Wait till we announce the new stadium. They'll be in meltdown. 100% in meltdown. Fubar says Gabby Agbonlabor was on TalkSport discussing Isak to Arsenal for 100 million. So they have just decided to knock off a third of his price. They're deluded. I know. They're saying, just put a bid in for 100 million when the club themselves have just stated 150. Are you stupid? Well, yes, Gabby Agbonlabor, you are stupid.
Well, he is stupid, yeah.
I mean, God almighty. Pathetic. Just take £50 million off the price. Don't worry about it. Ah, dear. It's absolutely crazy. But it will go on throughout the month, guys. I guarantee you there'll be more bullshit spread throughout the media this month. It'll, mental.
I mean, it's one of those situations where it's win-win because we are going to ask for stupid money for these top players. So if somebody is silly enough to give us the right amount, we have a free rebuild. Well, not a free rebuild, but we have a rebuild then. We've got enough to go to really push. We could go and buy 4 or 5 first-team players with the money. Or we retain everyone. So it's either it would be sad to lose one of the big hitters. Of course, it would be really sad. But it basically secures the next 3 years of transfers. Well, in terms of getting the build ready and adding those 4 or 5 places.
But
so it's
on the flip side of that, Alex, on the flip side of that, the build has already started. And by the way, some very, very good news today. Sven Botman's declared himself fit, by the way, to make a comeback. So he may be involved on Saturday. Certainly not starting, but he'll be on the bench, which will be a hell of a...
I couldn't give a toss if he's declared himself fit. I'd wait for the medical staff and Eddie Howe to clear him first.
We've seen it very, very well. How many times have we seen it before with Botman? I am fit. I am fit.
Well, we've lost him for 9 minutes because he declared himself fit in the first place.
Yeah, well, we'll see what happens with that. Dan Robinson says, I've lived all over and I'm currently looking for a place in Newcastle to live permanently. I love Newcastle, the team, the people, everything. Indeed. It is a fantastic place. Take it all as a compliment. Our players are good enough. The folk are interested in them. I barely read past the headline in the media as it's just full of clickbait. Yeah, but it's talking points. That's what I talk. That's what I sort of use them as, talking points, and to basically have a go at the Southern media and the pundits. I love to do that. Claire says Newcastle are one of the best midfields, so let's dismantle it, say all journalists. Dear. Steve says Southern media is shitting it because they know it's only a matter of time. We are regular top 4 contenders. I mean, it's been a while, Alex, hasn't it? But the more reports start to come in, the more it's just sort of declaring to everybody in Newcastle that the Southern media and the cartel, they are absolutely crapping themselves.
Yeah,
and
well,
Hong Kong Freeway agrees.
The facts kind of prove that we are a good team over a long period of time. You know, the Premier League table for the calendar year of 2024 has us in 5th. And that was with a huge chunk of last season where we weren't doing very well. Pope was out. We struggled. We had a massive injury crisis where we had 11 or 12 players out all at once. And we're still calendar year 5th. That's really impressive, all things considered. And a lot of people weren't super happy with the start of this season as well. So when you factor in those two bad sort of runs of form, if we call them that, to still be 5th in the calendar year table. Yeah. And then if you go backwards, then we qualified for the Champions League in the season before that. And then I'm pretty sure the form, once Eddie Howe got his transfers through the door in that first season.
Yeah, it was 3rd, weren't we? Or 2nd?
Yeah, I think we were like 3rd or 2nd in the league for form post-January. So since Eddie Howe's been in charge, we've been averaging sort of top 6 form and position for basically the entire tenure. So the more quality we can keep adding and as we progress, we're already there essentially. Obviously, top 4 is you might not even need top 4 to get Champions League this season. So you might be okay with 5th. It depends on how things go. But yeah, I think we're basically already there. They've not really clicked and cottoned onto that yet.
Cruz asking, does Lewis need an upgraded contract this season? I'd certainly be looking to upgrade it as soon as possible.
I'm not sure we can afford that, but it would be nice.
Yeah.
Depends what he's on. He's not on a lot, is he? He's on.
I wouldn't.
Yeah, it's not that though. It's that we've probably got priorities. We probably want to do something with Isak, and there would be other things to look at first.
I mean, hopefully Jamal Lewis will be off the wage bill with people like that.
Yeah, let's see what happens after this month and see whose wages have been sent to the dustbin.
We still need to get Isaac Hayden off the wage bill.
Shane over in Australia, been a member for 35 months. Thanks, buddy. Morning, gents. This Tottenham game could end up like our game versus Villa. Spurs like to open up, plus their injuries. This could be a big win. Insanity, thank you for a super chat. Alex, thanks for always keeping me calm with great insight whenever I'm nervous before a match. Paul and Billy, thank you very much for the commentary and the laughs. Keith Lee has been a member with us for 22 months. Thank you, Keith. Actually, do we have a CEO now to oversee all these dealings, finances, or who is handling Eales' duties now?
I think Eales still is at the moment.
Darren Eales is still there. Yeah, he's
looking for the replacement, and he's as normal.
Yeah, he'll be a while. He's obviously he's got other more important things on his mind. Apparently, Lewis Hall's only on £7,000 a week.
Of course.
That can't be.
Well,
right.
we got him on loan, and he probably was on an academy contract. Well, not an academy contract, but he would have been on a youth, some kind of contract at Chelsea before we got him. So
that needs addressing, though, doesn't it? I mean, this kid's going to be elite. I mean, he's already elite in my eyes, but you know what I mean. We need to get him under a bit better contract. And he deserves it as well. Let's face
Well.
it. He's, all last season, everybody was screaming at him for being the side. But, Eddie's took his time with him and got him ready. And he's gone out and proved it.
I imagine his contract will be
about
increased
time,
anyway
though.
because he's now an England international. That would increase his
Exactly,
wages,
yeah. Yeah.
So we don't have a contract expiry date on record on some of these websites. Don't know.
Because apparently Livermento's on 50 a week. So there's a big fucking difference. Chipped us with a super chat, said the big six are crapping themselves. Man United 10 points off it. Man City struggling. Spurs, being Spurs, could be 3 places in the top 6 up for grabs. Well, you know what? It's going to be very interesting. But listen, Tottenham apparently have 9 players missing for this game. Jens with a super chat saying, I can see Tonali and Bruno scoring. Let's go. Well, Brunaliton will be added again on Saturday. There's no doubt about that. Alex, let's have a look at some. You got some stats ready for us?
I've got a couple of bits, yeah.
Who are Spurs missing? I'm interested. I know they've got Van de Ven and Romero both injured, but who else is missing?
Those. It's a long list.
Bentancur, yeah, they've got a lot of important players missing.
Is he suspended again, Bentancur?
Yeah.
Because he played last
What
game,
he did
didn't
this
he?
time. Probably sang a funny song. That's what he normally does.
Alex.
Well, it's not me that's done them. It's them. If they're going to be racist, that's on them. It's not our problem.
Very true.
They should probably stop doing it. That's a lot of injuries. Hamstring, muscle, ankle, Mikey Moore illness, Richarlison hamstring, Wilson Ode. Oh, funny that with Ange Postecoglou's style of play, and it's all ankles and hamstrings.
Yeah,
it's rather curious, isn't it?
The young kid Mikey Moore, he normally plays midfield in the academy. He's been playing centre back for them, and now he's picked up an illness. So it's worrying times if you're a Tottenham fan. All those players out.
I don't know what their predicted lineup might be because obviously Vicario's out as well, and Fraser Forster's been having an absolute nightmare in goal. I mean, we could have told him 2 years ago he was past it for the top level. I don't know about predicted lineups. Obviously, we've got Fabian Schär suspended, so that's an important thing for us to consider. If we have a look at their recent fixture, I mean, let's have a look at the Wolves.
They've been playing Dragusin and young Gray, haven't they? The one I got from Leeds.
Great last time, yeah.
This is their most recent lineup. The 4-2-3-1. Udogie, of course, is out as well, so I don't know what they're going to do there. Porro, Dragusin, Fraser Forster in goal. I mean, we just need to continuously pepper that goal. Bentancur can't play either. Bissouma can. And then the front line seems okay. Relatively untouched. That's
they're a danger. They do have a good four. Let's be fair to Spurs. You know, but let's hope that they are trying to help the defence more than they are moving forward on Saturday.
If we have a look at the table, despite the fact that they're in 11th, they've scored 41 goals, which is second only to Liverpool. So that is quite concerning. They're very, very good at scoring goals, and they're at home, and most of their forward line is relatively intact. So that's concerning. You know, a plus 13 goal difference as well. They're obviously game management is just shocking, and yeah, the points accumulation to have scored 41 goals and to be where they are is ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous.
Well, they conceded a lot of goals, and that's what kind of makes me so confident for Saturday, because you know we are defending well now, and Tottenham are leaking goals, and we are banging them in right now. So I'm very much looking forward to the game. I think
this is the difference. They're second in the league for goals per match and 12th for goals conceded per match.
Yeah.
So they're worse than mid-table for letting them in. Very, very odd. They are down in 7th for clean sheets with 4. Look at Forest top for clean sheets as well.
Matt Selzer, who'd have thought?
But obviously Ange Ball, they are 3rd in the league for possession. They are quite dangerous with everything offensive. Shots on target, 4th in the league with six-ish on target per game. 4th for expected goals. 3rd for big chances. They are not direct at all. They are bottom for accurate long balls per match. So everything is going to get played the Ange ball way. They
Yeah.
are going to build up. And they're top 5 for accurate passes as well. Crosses, middle of the park, 10th. Don't tend to get too many penalties. Only got 1 so far this season. High volume of touches in the opposition box. Second for corners as well. That is a lot of corners, and of course they've got a few danger men. Solanke a bit of a threat. And let's have a look at the defensive statistics. XG conceded. 6th is not good, guys, because 1st is the worst in this metric. So to be 6th for XG conceded is really poor. They're giving up lots of high value opportunities consistently, which is bad, real bad. They are quite good at tackling an interception, which normally you're not that high up the list when you're a good team. Sorry, Man United. Possession 1 in the final third as well. Lots of nice pressing. Of course, all of their energy, Ange ball, all the forwards are fit. So they are 2nd for possession 1 in the final third per game. Interestingly enough, Bournemouth at 1st. That's very curious. They conceded
Bournemouth
2
are up
pens.
there.
I don't know if we can really look into conceding 2 pens. Clearances, well, they either goes in the back of their own net or they don't get the chance. Saves per match down in the middle as well. What about discipline? What are we looking at discipline-wise? 1 red card so far this season. 39 yellow cards total in 13th place. So they're not a very dirty side. It's just lots of possession, lots of technical stuff, super, super high line. And it's this kind of stuff we're going to have to be wary of. I mean, let's look at their average positions. Oh, no, that's not their average positions. Well, that's their average positions.
Look at the space, though, Alex. Look at the space. When you see when you do this with other teams, like it's quite compact and trying to stop teams breaking on. But if I was Eddie Howe and I looked at that, I'm thinking, my God, our counter attack could have a fucking field day.
Well, to get the space behind Povo where Anthony Gordon will want to be.
Exactly.
Yeah, I mean, I'll be able to compare this quite nicely because I'll show you what ours look like against Man United.
I mean, you look at the difference there, right? And
so that's ours against Man U.
Yeah, and obviously
so we've got a nice compact midfield. We've got Trippier sat next to Bruno and Tonali. Joe Linton ready to then go and join the front 3. It's with the asymmetrical back 3. It's very functional.
But if you look at the Man United one, Alex, that's because Man United were trying to go through Ahmad all the time on that side. That's why our players were generally over there. But you look at the gaps there, and you think, wow, the pace that we have. It doesn't matter how much possession we have because possession means nothing. If you're just passing it around the defense all day, we can cope with that. We just sit and wait to pounce, and then when we do, the gaps are phenomenal.
Even then, I'm not 100% sure. Against Spurs, we've obviously done really well against Spurs in the last few fixtures because Eddie Howe's that we've done the whole Elliot Anderson dropped into the back line last season when we still had him. Joe Linton dropped into the back line this season when we beat them as well. We've gone with a bit more of a counter attack, punch them when their trousers are down kind of thing. Whereas I genuinely think with this kind of game, I don't think they've got the personnel available. I think we might be able to wrestle control of this game. Genuinely, like this midfield, like the 8 and the 30 is Bentancur and Bissouma. Bentancur's not available, so Bissouma is fantastic. However, I'm not. I feel like we've got the players to wrestle control of this game.
It's Sarr fit.
I was going to go.
Is PM Sarr fit? Is he?
I think
Sarr. It doesn't say he's unavailable, so I would imagine so. He's a competent midfielder.
Yeah, he'll be.
But from that sort of lineup, of course, imagine it with no Doggy and Bentancur. They are clutching at straws with personnel. I don't. It just depends on which way Eddie Howe wants to go. Because in recent games against Spurs, he's gone with a back 5, he's gone with counter-attacks, and it's worked really nicely. However, the amount of players they've got missing, I genuinely think we could just take this game, just control it and do what we want, basically.
Normally we talk about Son a lot in these games coming up against Tottenham, but he has been bang average this season. And
I still wouldn't underestimate him.
No. I love Son. I love Son as a player. But what I'm saying is, the fact that his contract runs out at the end of the season, he still hasn't signed a new one at Spurs. That's all up in the air. I just wonder if that's affecting his performances this season.
Possibly it is, yeah. But the quality he's got, he's the kind of player that could turn up on the day and score a hat-trick. So
But he gave Trippier a roasting last season. So
Yeah.
this is where obviously who plays at right back might be a discussion, which we'll come on to, obviously.
I think Kulusevski's going to be a big one for them because
Yeah, he's
obviously
he's the main man.
wide.
Yeah.
I remember we've reviewed him on transfer shows before, and you guys weren't super keen on him. I don't think he's the fastest of players, but everything else, he's a very Eddie Howe kind of player, and he's dropping in and just doing everything work rate wise. He could be the difference for them having the right control. But it just depends. I don't know the Spurs team well enough to know how they're going to handle all of these absences. I don't know who they're going to bring in. Udogie and Bentancur missing. Reguilon's back there again. I never know where he plays. He's changing every bloody season. Maddison, Werner, and Pape Sarr as well. You'd imagine Pape Sarr and Reguilon. I would imagine.
Is it Pape
I don't think
Sarr?
Werner's going to start.
It's Pape Sarr, isn't it? Not Papa.
Pape Sarr.
Papa sounds like it's one of the fucking granddads running around. Papa
Whatever
Sarr.
his name is.
The referee's Andy Madley, by the way, just to make everybody happy with that. VAR's Chris Kavanagh as well. So assistant VAR Billy.
Who?
Sean Massey.
Oh, terrific.
You're
I won't be asking her for a sandwich before the game.
One man that will be there at the game is New England manager Thomas Tuchel. He's going to be there. So it's a big opportunity, obviously, for a few of the English Newcastle United players to stand up and be counted. Obviously, our full-backs, and you've got Anthony Gordon there. Obviously, you could say Murphy and Byrne, who could...
Dan Byrne.
Yeah, big Dan Byrne.
Lloyd Kelly.
Jacob Murphy is in the Player of the Month vote, so
he certainly is. He certainly is. His rise has been like a phoenix. Murphy and Gordon should get plenty of one-on-ones, says Colin. Chris at Evermore.
We will get into that.
You what?
We'll get to that when we do the lineups.
Chris at Evermore says if we start like we have the last few games, we could kill the game in 30 minutes. It's going to be the same, Billy, because Tottenham fans will not put up with seeing their team suffer the same as what we did to Man United in that first half hour.
Well, Ange wants to play the high line, and if he hasn't got a centre half with the pace of Van der Ven, it makes it all redundant for me. So they then have to drop deeper and give us room to run into. Whichever way they do it, they're going to get punished by us. So I think we can get at them early, and once we do get them, force them to play a different way. And it could be another one of those games where we get out early and stay there.
Cruz says he could see Tonali man marking Kulusevski at the weekend. I don't think we'll be man marking. I know what you're getting at, Cruz.
I think he can play wide, and he can also cut inside. Him and Johnson kind of swap around a bit, don't they? So
I just think if we keep our concentration in the way we've played in recent games, then whoever's marking Kulusevski at the time, just do the job.
He may not even play Johnson. He may play Kulusevski wide from the start and play Madison.
Madison's an option. I'm not sure we'll man. It's not going to be like it was against Man United. I think against Spurs, we'll normally have a press.
Yeah. And
then if they beat the first line of press, we will try and drop back into some kind of shape, whether it's a 5-4-1 or a 4-5-1. He will know how dangerous they are. Again, for people bantering Spurs, they've scored 41 goals.
Yeah.
So and we've had a few lapses of concentration as well in recent games, even though we've won.
Alex, we haven't conceded.
It doesn't matter. It's still a factor, and if they can result in goals conceded, so we've got to be careful.
Absolutely, but Tottenham have scored a lot of goals, which fair enough. But we haven't conceded many, so it's going to be a very interesting battle at that end of the pitch.
We've just got to make sure we don't let the game get away from us. We can't have them if they score 2 or 3, then it's. I know we've been averaging sort of 3 goals a game recently.
They score 3, we score 4 or 5. What the hell?
It's got that kind of vibe.
Well, Liverpool did it to them recently, didn't Alex?
6-3. Exactly. But they play with everything. The sort of we play in the same sort of way that Liverpool do, in that it's kitchen sink.
Yeah.
Although we displayed a much more mature performance against Man United, and that we backed off a lot. It depends. We are maturing as a team. We were very guilty last season of trying to throw the kitchen sink at people for 90 minutes, and we couldn't. It was too heavy. We couldn't do it. and I think we're learning. So we need to make sure we're aggressive when it's appropriate. But this has got a high scoring game written all over it. I am a little bit concerned about it.
I'm not concerned. I think it will be high scoring. Don't get me wrong, Alex. I think you're right on that, but I'm not concerned because I think we will score more goals than them. It could be a very, very high scoring game. It could be
if
really.
We do, then we win the game. So that's fantastic.
Yeah. Well, as Michael Owen says, you have to. You have to score goals to win football matches. Funny enough,
we can't forget that we're going to have to replace one of our centre halves as well, which will leave us weaker at the back.
Yeah. Cynical Jim says, I'm a bit behind, but Spurs fans are very much not happy, Alex. No, they're not.
It's a mixed bag. A lot of people understand how good Ange is at certain things. But obviously there's a lot of, I think naivety is the wrong word, stubbornness probably with defensive set pieces and just high line or die kind of attitude is a lot of people don't like it.
Yeah. Parashar says, Spurs fan here. I'm really worried about this game. It'll be 3-1 to you. How weird is this? Thank you for your comment, Parashar, and welcome to the channel. It's amazing, this, isn't it? The turnaround. And now, Manchester United fans the other night on our preview were all coming on saying, you lot will win. We're rubbish at the minute. And now we're getting Spurs fans doing the same. It's a strange environment at the minute, Billy.
It is, but you've got to look at where they are in the table. There's not a lot of confidence in the two sides that have played Saturday and last week. Mm-hmm. But it's just football, basically. You keep getting beat, you don't see where your next win's coming from. We're playing on bang on form, and we're the opposite to that. So, I think we're going to be positive, and they're going to be negative. It's natural.
Craig Hope is confirming that Botman has declared himself fit and ready for this weekend. That's where I read it from. Let's see what Eddie Howe has to say tomorrow. And don't forget, you can catch the press conference reaction with us at 11 o'clock in the morning, where we'll go over what Eddie has to say. Because I think Eddie's answer to that question is probably going to be very different to Sven Botman's. There is no way they will take a chance on him. He certainly won't start the game. Keith Lee, thank you for your super chat. Madison's out of favour. Son, tired legs. Their players have been run into the ground with loads of hamstring and muscle injuries. Kulusevski playing number 10 now, one of the danger men, along with Solanke and Brennan Johnson. Listen, Postecoglou's going through a bit of what I think Eddie Howe went through, criticism and maybe pushing them too hard in training, Alex, and pushing them hard during the games. And, we know they play this very high line. Maybe it does have things to do with players getting injured.
I've not looked into it enough. However, there are situations where this has happened with teams when the manager demands a lot of them. This happened with Klopp and Liverpool when he first came in the first 18 months. They just all went ping. We've kind of had the situation with us as well, with the type of football we've played. When we didn't have the quality to rotate, already Howe just refused to rotate. Everybody just went ping. It was thigh, calf, hamstring. Everybody. There was a lot of anomalies as well. Let's not forget Murphy's shoulder, Pope's shoulder. That's not down to running. That's just unfortunate. So is there a thing with Ange and the injuries? I don't know. It's possible. It's plausible. Any Spurs fans in the chat? I mean, give us your thoughts on that. Do you think that the style of play and the intensity and the dominance that he demands, do you think that's contributing to things like hamstring injuries? Or I'm not so sure, because they have a lot of the ball. It's not quite as gung-ho as our style is. So
Emma says, hi, Paul, Billy. Now, sorry, I haven't been on live since the Christmas special, but my dad is seriously ill in hospital. Emma, hope he makes a full recovery. With thoughts and prayers are with you and your family, Emma. So stay strong, and thank you for letting us know. Also, I'd just like to give a shout out to my good buddy Peter Proudlock, whose auntie has been seriously in hospital, and from talking to Peter this afternoon, the machine is getting switched off at some point today. She suffered a terrible stroke and 2 cardiac arrests all at the same time in similar time. So unfortunately, it's not great news for Peter's auntie. He's absolutely devastated. He's very close to his auntie, and I just want to give him a big shout out from the Toon Review. And we're all thinking of you, Pete. We're all thinking of you and the family. And stay strong, bud. And we'll speak soon. it's awful, especially at this time of year, just after Christmas and stuff. But we're with you all the way, my man. Stay strong. Emma's going 3-0 for Newcastle. This game could be easily 4-3 either way. I'm not doing a 4-3. No way am I doing a 4-3. Simon says, I cannot see a clean sheet, but we are going to win.
Hey, we've just had loads of clean sheets. This is probably the only time where we might be able to see a clean sheet. But Spurs score.
Yeah, I mean, look, we are performing really well. We are getting clean sheets left, right, and bloody centre. Let's be confident here.
That's with Fabian sharing the side, though.
Yeah, that is true. I mean, we've got whoever comes in. I
hate it when Billy wears black because he just needs that big
realism
fork next to him, doesn't he?
Somebody's got to come into that space and play slightly out of position, and then perform to the nth degree to kind of make sure that they don't score.
Spurs, by the way, are averaging 15 shots a game, so Dubravka is going to have more to do. Just fact, he will.
Is Kraft fit yet? By the way, is he anywhere near fitness?
Don't think he is. No.
Never mind. Anyway, let's construct the Newcastle United team, shall we, and see what we think. We'll have our usual graphic for this one. I would make an instant change, both Shea and Trippier out.
Right, Fabian Shea. Sorry, mate, you're gonna have to go and sit up there for a little bit.
Yeah.
You don't think Trippier's going to be available?
I think Livramento will play simply to go against Son. I don't think Trippier had a nightmare with him last season, and I don't think Eddie will take the chance again.
I don't know. I'd still prefer Trippier. I love the balance with Trippier in the side.
Really?
At the moment.
Should we put it to a poll,
I'm enjoying it.
You've got to remember the Trippier game last season was on the back of the Everton game. Right on the back of it, 3 days afterwards. So there are kind of excuses for that.
Yeah, maybe do a poll. By the way, while there's so many people in here and while Paul's doing the poll, we do have a transfer show straight after this. It's going to be at 8:15, so literally 5-10 minutes after we finish. There's going to be a transfer.
This show finished a little bit earlier, Alex, because I'm going to get some food and then back at 8:15. So this will finish around.
Transfer show is tonight, so look out. Yeah. Make sure you come back for the next.
Literally, this will finish in around 10-12 minutes time, and then we'll be back at 8:15 for the transfer show, so don't miss that. There is a player in there tonight, guys, that he's on the thumbnail, so you'll know who it is, but it's going to be a very interesting talking point, put it that way. Anyway.
Do I not have a botman? I don't think I have a botman.
How dare you?
I don't have a botman. Sorry, Sven.
How dare you? There he is.
He's
right up in the top corner, yeah.
Right.
So by the way, the poll's up. Who would you rather see it right back against Tottenham, Trippier or Livramento? Let us know by voting now, guys, and we'll take a look at that shortly.
Right, so I think it's I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, I think that's the choice, isn't it? It's between Kelly and Botman. Somebody's going to go as the right-sided centre-half, unless he goes for a back five because of all, I don't know, because he did last time.
Well, technically, he could go back five.
Straight away, I'm going to say Kelly, and I'll tell you for why. If anyone knows Dominic Solanke's strengths and weaknesses, Lord Kelly's the man.
That's a good point. Yeah. However, hear me out on this. He could go back five. I don't want him to go back five, by the way, but he could technically go back five and play Burn, Kelly, and Trippier as the main centre backs, and play Livramento and Hall as the wing backs.
He could do that. Obviously, we'd have to drop. Yeah, but we'd have to drop someone further.
Exactly,
up who
which I don't.
It's not going to happen.
Which I don't think he's going to do, because you cannot drop the other players because they are playing so well right now.
Yeah, there's been nothing.
It would be a hell of a risk to do that
up there.
You don't search the rest of the team just to fit one player in. Absolutely not.
No, I agree.
Kelly in for me.
I think even changing the formation is dangerous based on our recent consistency and form. I think the safest thing to do is just change the player.
See, now Botman's been playing behind closed doors. He's played a couple of games behind closed doors apparently as well. So, listen, he could actually start Botman and just play him for an hour.
He could. Put him on the bench and don't risk him.
I'd agree with Billy, to be fair.
But
I don't want to see Sven
guys, playing devil's advocate, right? If the medical team have said to Eddie he's ready to go, right? Does Eddie then put him in? If he gets guarantees from the medical team that he's ready to go, he's fit. Obviously, he's not match fit. He won't be match fit until he plays. But if the medical team say Sven Botman is ready to go, he is fully fit, you can play him. Does Eddie put him in ahead of Lloyd Kelly?
No.
I don't think so either.
No? I'm not sure, guys, to be honest, because I think when you listen to him talking about Sven Botman, he wants him back. He wants him in there. And I think if he gets the clearance, but listen, I agree with you. I agree with you guys. I think it's a big risk if he starts him with how long this guy's been out for.
I wouldn't be playing Botman until the FA Cup game, if I'm perfectly honest.
If I was Ange, I would want Eddie to start Botman because I would, and Botman, would Botman play on the left? Possibly. I would get Solanke to just constantly try and rag him left, right, and just be an absolute pain. And if Botman does end up playing anywhere on this left side, get Brennan Johnson to just constantly test him. I wouldn't want that for Botman's. I prefer Botman to come on with 20, 30 minutes to go in the game and get some confidence and some minutes in his legs in a senior game. This is a tough game against a team who scored 41 goals away from home. Putting Sven straight in, I think, is a big ask.
It's a huge risk.
I know we've got fond memories of how good he is, but he's still quite young as a player, and I'd rather we did this carefully with him.
Kieran's come in with a super chat. Thanks, Kieran. With Tonali and Bruno swapping positions during the match, it's already technically a back five. Because one of them does sit back. I suppose it's a point, yeah.
They don't swap as such. They've not really been swapping as much anymore. Tonali is the guy that sits in front, but it's the way that we're doing it is Bruno drops to help start build up, and that they build up together. It's not been so much of a rotation. Tonali's doing what John Joe Shelby used to do. He is the shield. But he's also fast and physical and will just go put fires out everywhere. He will help Bruno build up, and Bruno will then be the guy who goes and takes it further.
Do you not think they both love? Do you not think that those two players now love where they play? Tonali absolutely loves doing what he does. Bruno loves getting further forward. I think
Tonali enjoys orchestrating more and just being careful. He likes the traditional side of the game, whereas Bruno likes the flair stuff.
I think Bruno's made a massive difference to our attack because he sits on the edge of the box and orchestrates things all the time with his creation. And I think that's what's helped us. And knowing that Tonali's behind him, Bruno hasn't then got the worry of being caught out going too far forward. I think 100%. He's thriving.
This is why I've set this up lopsided, because this is quite often what we look like. Joe Linton will
Joe Linton's just a one-man battering ram.
he's just the guy. We are very asymmetrical in that these two do he kind of is the shield warrior. They build up together. Bruno will go up as well and help. But Joe Linton is ready for, if we can break that first line and get through, he will just absolutely go for one. And then he'll go and join the left wing because he's got a lot of minutes as a left winger and he really understands how to go and make things happen up here. However, because Lewis Hall is really, really competent at helping Gordon now, it means Joe Linton can do things like arrive late in the box and score headers, which is exactly what he did against Manchester United. So it's a really, really nice balance. It more depends on who we're playing it against and how they're going to try and stop this. And I know Spurs have got a lot of players missing, but we've got to be careful. We've still got to treat this carefully. And
it's the same as the Man United game, isn't it? We're expected to win because of Spurs where they are and how they're playing. So we just have to go out and do another professional job. Martin Watson, thank you for your super chat. Trippier first half as his legs go. Introduce Tino in the second half. I mean, the problem is it depends if Trippier is actually fit, because he held his hamstring, didn't he, against Manchester United and came off. So we don't actually know until Eddie speaks tomorrow what the situation is with Kieran Trippier.
There are a few questions, Paul, about who plays which side centre back wise.
Well, I think we keep Dan Burn where he is. Honestly, I do. If he's not going to play Botman, then I think Burn has to stay where he's been playing.
Because Kelly's faster. Let him play out of position because he's got more speed to make up for any positional issues. or any mistakes that might happen. And I think we've got to be fair on Lloyd Kelly. If he does something wrong, he does something wrong. He's not playing consistently. It may happen, so we can't spit our dummies out if Lloyd Kelly makes a mistake.
Absolutely not.
We've just got to support him.
There will be, though. There'll be many.
There will be, yeah.
It's Newcastle
a week being spat out.
Yeah, if he makes one mistake, it'll be cancel his contract, sell him in the window.
Yeah.
I mean,
people just playing him out of position with no run of form, and then say, "Oh, he's not good enough for this team." Or I mean, he is. It's just
people just don't seem to be able to understand that he's getting high wages because we didn't pay a fee for him.
Yeah,
it was free.
Please understand that
we're not losing money through it. It's technically we would have probably
it's
paid
what the
more.
Bosman rule's all about.
Absolutely. Just before we finish, guys, and get score predictions, just like there was some news on Dubravka this afternoon as well, and I think Adam did a video on it. That Al-Shabaab, it looks like there's an agreement in place now. Newcastle United haven't said anything on this, but this has been a thought process from before the window even started. That Dubravka was very close to agreeing terms. Now, if Dubravka does go, then it seems to be the case that James Trafford will come in. Would you be happy with that?
Well, for everybody watching, you will see the answer to that question in the transfer show, because
yes,
we might be looking at James Trafford.
That's why I did it, Alex. As a host, I'm sort of
it is. We'll probably go through that in a bit more detail in the transfer show, because it's a really unique situation that we've not been in before. We've got a goalkeeper who's suddenly come into the fray. He's doing quite well, but we might want to sell him in literally like we're in January now. We might want to sell him right now, and we need another goalkeeper because we don't.
I'm a massive fan of Trafford. I have to say, I'm a big fan of Trafford's.
Yeah, you are. I know you are. Some people say no, but listen. James Trafford, and I'll give him credit, because at the start of the season, he lost his place, right? He has since regained that place, and I think he's played about 23, 24 games this season and played very well, by the way. So it's not like he's not getting.
There's some interesting stats on Burnley that we will have a look at.
I'm shutting up in case I look like a proper goose egg. So we'll wait and see on that.
No, you're on the right track. Don't worry.
Well, I'm with Billy. I think James Trafford is a hell of a keeper and could be, he could come in and be our number one for yours and yours to come. So
I wouldn't be happy signing him, I've got to say.
You won't be?
No, because I think Kelleher's a far better goalkeeper. I'd like to have him.
Well, yeah, Kelleher's been linked as well, of course. But James Trafford has been a long he's been a long-term target of Eddie Howe's, of course. Right. Let's have a look at the poll, shall we, before we do our predictions. 57% have gone with Tino. 57 for Tino and 43% for Kieran Trippier. So 57% want it's come up in the chat there, the results. It's got Livramento now at 56 and Trippier at 43. That makes 99%. Are YouTube going mental?
1% went for Ruddy.
Probably. And this dressing gown.
And that was John Ruddy.
That was Ruddy himself. Yeah, absolutely. Right. It's score prediction time, guys. Get them into the chat as quick as you can. Let's have a look at how you're feeling. Billy, we'll start with you this week.
Could potentially be a basketball game, this one. I think we'll see goals. I'm going to say Tottenham Hotspur 2, Newcastle United 4.
That's exactly the one I've gone for as well, you bastard. I'm going 4-2 as well. I generally think there'll be goals. 4-2 for me. Listen, I hope it's 4-0. Don't get me wrong. I hope we get another clean sheet. But the way both teams are really attacking. Spurs have scored a lot of goals, as we've seen. I can see it being it'd probably be 0-0 now, by the way.
Can we have goal scorers?
Isak 2, Bruno and Lewis Hall. There you go.
I've gone for Isak 2, and I think
that's Tonali, Lewis Hall, for fuck's sake.
No, Tonali and Joe Linton, I think, for me. I was wondering where you were going with your goal scorers, and I'm thinking he names the same as me. I'm going to clout him. Alex?
I'm going to go a little bit more conservative. I'm going to go with a 2-1 victory.
I think Alex has learned his lesson from previous seasons, by the way, folks.
No, I'm going with 2-1.
You have never gone with a big win this season, Alex, even against Manchester United, even in previous games earlier on this season.
I've gone with 3 or 4 goal predictions.
No. You have learned your lesson, Big Stan. You have gone very conservative all of a sudden.
I think it will be 2-1 to us. I think we will win, and I think it's going to be Isak and Tonali because I think he's putting himself in really good goal scoring opportunity, positions, and he hit the post against Man United. I think he'll get 1 or 2 sniffs at goal, and he'll get one. The Lewis Hall shout is not a bad one either. I think he looks like he's in the mood for one, and he just takes some set pieces. He's having a couple of pops with the right foot as well. He's setting himself up for maybe getting a goal at some point soon. But I'll go with Isak and Tonali.
Well, a lot of big scores coming in the chat, by the way. 5-2 from Fubar. Paul March, 4-1. Ron and Mike say 2-0. Mervyn says 5-0. Garant, 4-4. Bloody hell. Richie Northeast says 2-2. Stephen, 3-0. John Scullion, 4-1. Keithley, 3-1. John Green, 5-2 to Newcastle. Ollie, 5-1 to Newcastle. Mark Cooper, 5-2. Emma's gone 3-0 with Tonali to score. 3-1 to Toon. Richard Smaller says 5-1. Consistent Mags, 4-1.
I do have one announcement as well.
Uh-oh.
So I don't know if this is going to show up on my phone, if it's going to be. So we have the Stato ratio that we used earlier on in the season. This is whether we're on track to reach Champions League football on average. Right. So 1.82 points per game. So ignore the bottom number. That was what we were on at that point. So to get Champions League football on average over the last 5 seasons, you need about 69 points with a 1.82 points per game. We are just shy of that at the moment. If we can beat Spurs, we will be back on track with that ratio to get Champions League football officially. We've dropped that in the recent months because it didn't look like we were getting anywhere near that. But since form has picked up, we're definitely back on track. So we're just shy of that ratio. So as long as we keep going, we're on pace for a good finish.
Billy, do you know the transfer window shuts on the 3rd of February?
Does it?
Yeah, which is a Monday.
Oh, great.
Not in January, which is ridiculous.
It's crazy. I mean, why not Friday the 31st? I do not know.
At least it gives us a whole week to get our asses back ready for the football on the weekend.
Well, yeah.
Well, having said that, 3rd, 4th, we play against Arsenal that week, don't we?
Yeah, we do. Yeah. So it's going to be a very busy time for us coming up. But there you go. That is the preview show done and dusted. Don't forget, we are back in literally, 20 minutes with, or just after. Don't worry if we're a couple of minutes late. It just means that we're having some food and stuff. But we will be back at 8:15 with the transfer show. 3 more players to look at. So join us for that. You're getting a double dose of the Toon review tonight. So let's see if you're happy with certain players coming to the club or not. We'll take a deep dive into their form and how they're doing. But thank you for your super chats and memberships through this show. And of course, Mods, Alex and Billy, thank you very much. And thank you to you guys. But hopefully you'll all be back with us in around 20 minutes or so. We'll see you then. Take care.
We always give you plenty. See you in 20.
Come back and check out some green.